And this year, Russia saw its first armed conflict since 2008. And the consequences and costs are being felt in wallets, homes, and governments in Russia and around the world. In this reporter's notebook, CCTV's Tom Barton tells the story of Russia's economy in 2014.
At the beginning of 2014, the Russian economy did have its problems. Capital flight and inflation were too high. But those seem like distant memories now compared to what has happened since. Russia's annexation of Crimea in March set off the first round of sanctions against Russia. The government dismissed them initially as ineffectual. But after the Malaysian Airlines jet MH17 was brought down in July, more international sanctions followed. In response, the Russian government banned food imports from places like the EU, the US and other countries. Food prices soared as a result, as did inflation, set to hit 10% in 2015. Western sanctions on Russia's banking, energy and finance sectors meant that projects had to be cancelled. Russian banks were cut off from international finance, and Russian state energy giant Rosneft had to ask for a $42 billion loan from the government. All the while, world oil prices were sliding because of new shale reserves in places like the US, which combined with around $128 billion of capital flight from Russia and sanctions to have a devastating effect on the ruble, which has lost around 40% of its value against the dollar over the course of the year. If Russian President Vladimir Putin does not change his policy on Ukraine, if sanctions remain, and if the oil price does not rise, then analysts predict Russia could be in for multiple hard years ahead. Tom Barton, CCTV, Moscow.